After the ninth season of The Flash concluded on May 24th, there has been a total of 184 episodes of The Flash aired on television. In this video, I will go over the 10 episodes I think are the best in the series, and let me know your top 10 episodes of The Flash in the comment section down below. Starting at number 10, I have the 8th episode in the series, Flash vs. Arrow. This was the first crossover episode in the show and in the Arrowverse. We see Barry and Oliver team up for the first time to take on a metahuman who can control other people's emotions. We also get to see the differences between Barry and Oliver and how they go about fighting crime. Overall, this is a very enjoyable episode to watch in the show. It has great action and fun character interactions as well, which makes this episode top 10 worthy. The next episode on my list, coming in at number 9, is The Man in Yellow. This episode is a build-up from the previous 8 episodes that came before about the Man in Yellow, the Reverse Flash. This episode, we get to see Barry face off with the Reverse Flash for the first time in the series and the emotion that it brings to him. We get to see Barry talk to his dad about the man that killed his mother and how he's back and what it means to him. Barry and Iris' relationship develops further when Barry tells Iris how he really feels about her, which also makes their relationship now awkward. The reveal of the Reverse Flash at the end of the episode was done perfectly well with his voice and the Christmas theme, which makes this one of the best episodes in season 1 and also the entire series. At number 8, I have the part 1 crossover event Elseworlds. This is one of the most creative and fun episodes in the series. Barry and Oliver switching bodies with each other and living each other's lives was very interesting to watch. Every time Barry and Oliver were on screen with each other, it was hysterical, especially scenes like Barry and Oliver in the pipeline, and they are both trying to figure out a way to get out of there using each other's abilities. And the scene where Barry gets his sweet revenge on Oliver when they first teamed up and trained with each other. The appearances of Superman and Supergirl were good to see in this episode, as well as the Smallville cameo with the Ken farm brings that nostalgic feel back since the show Smallville ended in 2011. The villain Amazo was the perfect villain to use for this crossover episode because it helps Barry and Oliver find different ways to use each other's abilities to defeat it, which is why it is one of the best episodes in the series. Coming in at number 7, I have the 6th episode of season 2, Inner Zoom. This episode was a very intense episode and shows us how intimidating and terrifying Zoom is as a villain. We can see how confident Barry is during this episode because of the previous encounters he's dealt with, which makes the manhandle beatdown that Zoom gives him later in the episode worse than ever. Before their fight, most of the episode itself is just building up towards their fight. First, with Team Flash training Linda Park to impersonate her Earth 2 counterpart to trick Zoom, and flashbacks that explain why Earth 2 Harrison Wells is doing what he does. This episode is a very well done episode and has the best villain introduction in the entire show, which is why it is in my top 10. The next episode I have on my list comes in at number 6, and in my opinion, a very underrated episode in the series. Episode 19 of season 3, The Once and Future Flash. With Iris' life coming closer to an end, Barry travels to the future to try and find a way to stop Savitar from killing her. This episode shows us what happened to all the other characters in the show after Iris dies. It brings a different and unique atmosphere than what we regularly seen in the show. Everything is torn apart, broken, and different, much like the members of Team Flash. Present Barry interacting with future Barry was one of the most interesting things about this episode because it shows us how much Barry has changed since Iris died. Scenes like future Barry telling present Barry how Iris died in front of him and how he couldn't do anything to stop it, and future Barry making amends to the remaining members of Team Flash is why this episode succeeds when it comes to the emotion that this show can bring. Both Barrys teaming up to fight Mirror Master also brings the excitement that this show can bring. This episode overall sums up how versatile this show can be and what it can do when time time travel is involved, which is what makes this a very unique episode. Now in my top 5, starting at number 5, I have Inner Flash Time. Inner Flash Time represents what Flash as a character is all about. It shows us Barry and other speedsters' view of the world when they are running at the speed of light and what a speedster is capable of. It's a very different episode in the series, and it doesn't involve the main plot of the season. The visuals in this episode are the best in the series, with Barry running with the Speed Force and all the different lightning colors behind him. It really showcases how powerful Barry has gotten since he got out the Speed Force in the very first episode of the season. Jesse and Jay Garrick were great side characters to choose for this episode in assisting Barry to stop the bomb. While trying to stop the bomb, Grant gives arguably his best performance in the show, with the intensity of trying to stop the bomb and pushing his limits as a speedster like never before. This episode is the Flash at his best, making him extremely identical to his comic book self, showing the reason why we love the character of the Flash in the first place. At number 4 on this list, I have episode 10 of season 9, A New World Part 1 Reunions. This without a doubt is the best episode in season 9. This is an episode where fans of the show waited for almost a decade for. This episode builds up to the night of March 18th, 2000 and the final fight between Barry and the Reverse Flash. We get to see Barry spend one last time with both of his parents and getting that closure with them that he always wanted. We also get to see more screen time with Matt Letscher's Reverse Flash interacting with Barry hours before their fight. The night that fully altered Barry's life comes full circle in this episode and closes the past of Barry Allen. Now in the top 3 at number 3, I have the 100th episode of The Flash. What's Past is Prologue. This episode clearly focuses on Barry's relationship with Nora and them traveling back in time to find a way to defeat Cicada. This episode does a great job with bringing back old villains like the Reverse Flash and Zoom and different views from old scenes. We get to see everything that happened the night the particle accelerator exploded and how it changed everyone's lives from that point forward. This episode did a great job with the storytelling and the history of the show. It also brings more context for Nora on why Reverse Flash is Barry's arch enemy. This episode is basically an homage to the series and the reason why it is in my top 3. The episode I consider to be the second best in the series is Out of Time. This is arguably the most well-written episode in the series. The storytelling in this episode was at its highest in the series. This episode was very intense and very surprising, so you didn't know what was going to happen next. We see Cisco finds out that Harrison Wells was the Reverse Flash all along and then kills Cisco, and Barry showing Iris he is the Flash. We then see Barry travel through time for the first time in the series after trying to stop a tsunami that was headed for Central City. This episode from start to finish never stops slowing down, which is why it is regarded as arguably the best episode in the series. Before I get to the number 1 episode, here are a few honorable mentions. I have Tricksters, The Trap, The Reverse Flash Return, Welcome to Earth 2 versus Zoom, The Race of His Life, The Wrath of Savitar, Into the Speed Force, Infantino Street, The Trial of the Flash, and The Last Temptation of Barry Allen Part 1. At number 1, I have the season 1 finale, Fast Enough. This episode, in my opinion, is just the perfect episode. From the buildup of the previous 22 episodes, Barry finally has the chance to do something he always wanted to do, and that is save his mother. The conversation Barry has with Eobard at the beginning of the episode sets the tone of the episode perfectly. What makes this episode so perfect is the emotion that it brings when you're watching it. Scenes like Barry having conversations with everyone on the team about if he should save his mother and where he says goodbye to his mom makes it easily Grant Gustin's best performance in the series. Scenes like original timeline Barry telling season 1 Barry not to save her and the ending of the episode makes this episode very memorable in the series and why I think it is the best episode in the series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the next video.